Okay, so I just wanted to come and talk a little bit about the full moon we just had, which essentially was the last eclipse this summer. And it was a full moon in Capricorn. It was a lunar eclipse. It was at 13 degrees Capricorn. So obviously, as per my guide, if you had it, a few degrees either side of 13, and then in particular in cardinal signs, so Libra, Cancer, and Aries. Or Capricorn, obviously, that would have been a conjunction. A particularly important point in your chart that could have been resolved around this eclipse that we just had. Now, a few things there. So, full moon generally are about illuminating something that up until that point was not clear enough. We just had a sense of it. Also, typically, it directly relates to or it can, most often, or typically, like I say, to the time of the new moon, the previous new moon. So 2 weeks ago, we had the Cancer new moon, solar eclipse. I can't remember the degree. I think it was 0 Cancer. So that would have been in conjunct Aquarius. Anyway, the rest of that detail is in my guide. But what I wanted to say, so something that you would have possibly planted, or even that you were starting to sense some stirrings of, some shifts are happening, but you couldn't really be 100% sure, or just anything really, but typically would have been associated with a Cancer archetype. So it would have been about nurturing, mothering, family, gentleness, emotional vulnerability, sense of safety, security, comfort zones, all that stuff. So the themes around Cancer maybe not even had been happening for you, particularly in any significant way or form at the time of the last, the new moon in Cancer, the solar eclipse we had, but just as themes in your life from your childhood, even as far back as that, could easily be becoming clearer and very in your face around this new full moon that we just had. So particularly that it's an eclipse means that it's even extra powerful. So this could have been happening in the run-up to it quite a few days. You could have become, like I say, just becoming more and more aware of something that is like, whoa, this is a big deal. It doesn't have to be bad. It can be a good thing. You become clear about what it is exactly that you want or not want, and either side of that. So in a few days in the run-up to the 5th of June, at least where I am in UK, London time zone, and then also for the next few days. So the way I would advise you work with whatever has transpired, whatever has become illuminated, is to let it rise up, as you probably have been anyway. It's almost like, especially in the eclipse season, you just can't help it. Hopefully you weren't fighting it too much, or you had safe space, and you were removed enough from whatever distractions and things that would have shaken you unduly. You had that space and time to process whatever has been coming up. And then, so let it still simmer and let it still do whatever it's doing. Keep facing it, keep working with it, what that means engaging with it, talking to it. Journaling, obviously, is at least my favorite, with all my Gemini and Virgo stuff, but something else might be your things. It could be art. Just keep facing it, whatever that means for you. So as you face it, you will see stuff that, like I say, you will become clearer as to what of that you just are so now certain that this is what you want, this is what you're doing, this is where you're going, and equally, maybe not in equal measures, but as clearly and strongly you will feel this isn't going to work anymore. This needs to go. It's just not helping. It's not serving, and so those parts that you don't want anymore, store them up in the sense of write notes, make a journal entry just on what you want to let go, but don't let go just as yet. So what you do, you keep this process of facing and processing until the last quarter moon, and that is 13th of July. So it's next week, sorry, and it's going to be in Aries. So wait until at least end of 13th of July, or even better, until the moon moves out of Aries into Taurus. It's like up until that point, you will have done that list, good, solid list of what it is that you don't want anymore, what it is that you want to let go of. And then, so that would be from 14th to 19th until it enters Cancer. So essentially you have between 14th and 19th of July until the moon enters Cancer to release. So up until the 14th, or until moon enters Taurus, you just keep working whatever has been coming up, and that's all the good and bad stuff, but keep particular note of what you don't want anymore from all that clarity that you have gained. And then between 14th and 19th of July, make work on releasing that. So I don't know, however you do that, rituals, obviously, make it, make a point of marking that and honoring that process. So make sure that you're not ending anything aggressively or violently. And by that I mean, like, this thing about cutting cords. In fact, I think I mentioned in my last video that term, and that was probably because I was still not that versed on these videos. So it's the first term that came to mind, but it's really not good to cut because that just wounds. It's no moral judgment. It's just simply because it wounds, creates more wounding. So the way to work on releasing cords of your attachment to anything, and there is a link directly, I think, to the great meditation by Caris Melina in my guide. It's a beautiful meditation. She takes you through the process of how to actually release the cords lovingly. So you wrap up those cords that were sunk into you or stuck into you, and yours the other way, and you balm them, like you moisturize them with love, with the prana, with the, like, I can't do her justice with the way she does it. So you just want to check her meditation, which is in my guide, link directly to it. And that way the person or the thing even, and particularly when it's people, but even if it's beliefs, it's just kind of like, it's an act of love. That's the whole point. It's an act of love that just breeds more love. Love as in goodness, as in not fear, as in not anger, and all the things that you don't want to keep in your life that are not supportive of your next leg of your journey, or your soul's journey, your personal journey. So yeah, keep that in mind. So it's not about cutting or just being abruptly ending things. Just do it wisely, gracefully, and do it well, so it doesn't come back, essentially. Let's just get practical and real. So it doesn't come back, so it's really out of your life. And that's, so make sure you do that before the new moon, which is on 20th of July. I think it's 28 Cancer. So like I said, before it gets into Cancer would be my advice, so it doesn't, because once it's in Cancer, it's kind of that mode of being a new moon, and then you want to start thinking about your intentions for the new moon and all that, without the stuff you let go up until just the day prior or a few days prior. As I've mentioned, between 14th and 19th of July you want to be releasing, as per this few advice and suggestions I have for you. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful, and I'll be back soon.